You, as a parent, are the most important trainer that your kid will ever have. If you would have asked me as a trainer when I started almost 7 years ago now what my job was, I would have said, well, my job is to help players improve their skills using different drills, different workouts. Like, that's my job. And while the premise of that isn't necessarily wrong, if you ask me that now, the answer to that is very different. I'll relate this back to why you as a parent have such a valuable part of their basketball development. A great trainer doesn't just give a player drills, doesn't just put them through workouts. A great trainer is an architect of a great learning environment. So that means that I, as a trainer, need to be able to create a learning environment for them to be in that they would not be able to create by themselves, because they can do drills by themselves. They can go through a workout by themselves, but they can't necessarily create the optimal learning environment without someone to facilitate that. Now, in order to create that environment, we need to create what's called the Goldilocks Zone. And that just means that everything that we do should be not too easy and not too hard. We want to put them in a state where they're going to be failing about 30 to 70% of the time in whatever drills or workouts that we're doing. The reason for this is that in order to improve, there needs to be enough error reps that your brain says, whoa, this is not working. I need to make a change here. And that's where adaptation, that's where improvement actually comes from. We call it forced neuroplasticity, which just means that we're forcing the brain to adapt, to change, to get better when it comes to a specific skill. And we need to be in that Goldilocks zone. We need to create that learning environment, because that aspect of neuroplasticity, that process of getting better, is the most difficult thing, the most taxing thing that the brain is going to do. So it's not going to do that if it doesn't have to. It's not forced to. If it's everything's too easy and you succeed every drill, you succeed every workout, there's no reason to improve. Likewise, if everything is super overwhelming and you don't even know where to begin, then you're also not going to get any better. So as a trainer and as someone who takes pride in helping players get better, my goal has got to be less about workouts, less about drills, and more about, am I creating the optimal environment for them to actually be forced to get better? Drills and workouts and information are literally everywhere. It's all over YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. But the ability to add things, take things away, add constraints, take away constraints, make different little changes in real time is something that is immensely valuable to somebody trying to get better, in this case, a basketball player trying to get better at basketball. And this is also why I believe that you as a parent are the most important trainer and the most important facilitator of basketball development that your kid is ever going to have. You as a parent have something that no coach, no trainer, no program has with your child, and that is constant access and a deep emotional influence with them. And those two things are the most important drivers of improving behavior, improving ability. It's those two things. Now, the first way that this applies is going back to something that I always say, and what's been my experience being around so many different players and seeing the ones that succeed, the ones that don't, the ones who have a ton of talent and never really pan out or never really become what they could be, and then the ones who maybe outkick their coverage and achieve way more than maybe anybody else thought. And that is that the person matters so much more than the player does. The state that your child is in when they're learning, when they're at a workout, when they're trying to get better at something, matters just as much as the actual drills or the actual workout that they're going through. The brain is going to learn best when it's in a state of confidence, curiosity, and a healthy level of challenge, as opposed to a state of fear or a state of super high pressure. So as a parent, it starts off with helping them develop these three thoughts, these three habits. Number one is that effort and learning have to be the number one goal, not perfection. If they're okay with the fact that they may go out, put everything on the line, and still not succeed, still not see the results that they want, but they're willing to take that risk anyway, then they're going to have a chance to be really, really good. But if they're worried about failure being the end of the world, nothing's worse than failing, it's better to not try and thus not fail than try and fail, then they're going to struggle to ever really make the progress that they want to make. So normalize failure as a part of growth, right? Be willing to say, hey, that was really tough. That what you just went through today, that drill that you just did, that game you just had, that was tough, but that's important, right? That's going to help you get better. That's why it's important that you're doing these things, is because it's difficult, even if you're not perfect at it. And then I think maybe the most important part of it is you need to celebrate problem solving. So not just the outcome of it, right? Hey, I saw you figure that out, or hey, I saw you make that adjustment. That was really good. Whether they won the game, lost the game, played well, didn't play well, played with confidence, didn't play with confidence, when you see them start to solve problems, pointing that out to them and letting them know how important that is how you get that to become a more consistent behavior. And that's what is ultimately going to lead to the drills and the workouts actually mattering. Helping them develop a great emotional state to be a competitor is maybe the most important thing. Because when I think about it as a coach, the players who succeed, they're the ones who compete the hardest. It doesn't matter what the scoreboard looks like. It doesn't matter what I say to them. It doesn't matter what the crowd is saying. It doesn't matter if they just missed 5 shots. They compete like they compete like nothing's happened. The second reason why you're so valuable to their process is because you control a lot of the structure and the frequency of what they're doing to train. So what does their weekly schedule or their general structure look like? Are they doing things that are actually challenging them? Are they working on the right things? Like, what is the difficulty level? Are they in that Goldilocks zone consistently, or is it way too easy for them and they're coasting by, or it's way too much, way too difficult, and they're just drowning in it? Are you helping them reflect on these things too? Can you ask the conversation? Hey, what do you think's working well for you? Do you feel like you're getting better? Do you feel like you're stagnant anywhere? Do you feel like anything's holding you back? Do you feel like you're overwhelmed? Do you feel like you're not being challenged enough? You don't have to be a basketball expert necessarily to have these conversations, but just having them is going to help them develop self-awareness, more confidence in what they're doing. It's going to help them to be motivated and stay more disciplined, which all leads to them being way better as basketball players. Going with that, you facilitate the Goldilocks zone in their entire life more than anybody else. Hey, are things too easy for you? Are things too difficult for you? Or maybe you see that they're in the zone, meaning some days are great, some days are a little down, but they're constantly being challenged. You have a unique position that you can see that. You have a great sense for it, but you also are able to ask them and be able to get their perspective on it as well. A lot of players aren't going to recognize this, and as a coach or a trainer, you're only going to see a glimpse of that, but you see the whole picture. You can see the patterns, you can see their frustration levels, you can see how they are when they leave a workout, when they leave a practice, when they leave a game. You hear the things that they're saying. So you can use that to help them adjust if needed. Or if you know that they're in the optimal zone of improvement, you can use that to encourage them to keep going through it and highlight to them the importance of the challenges that they're facing. Going along with that, I think an important piece of it too is allowing them to struggle and allowing them to try and figure it out and not feeling like you have to be a constant crutch for them or their savior always. Be willing to let them fail a little bit and then help them understand like, hey, when you fail, this is how you need to respond to it, okay? Try this. We get back up and we do it again. And again, when you have players who can compete and who are resilient in the face of adversity, those are players who have the potential to be good. And if they don't have those things, it doesn't matter what drills or workouts that they're going to do, because once things get difficult, then it's not going to be good for them. So you really want to modulate this environment. So if you see things are way too difficult, they're doing way too much, they're burnt out, they're drowning in it, well, scale back. And if you see that they're just kind of coasting, they don't have to put in too much effort, it's not much of a struggle, but they're not moving forward, then maybe up it, add complexity to it right there. This is a skill that a great trainer has, but you as a parent, if you can develop this skill as well, can help them magnify those results by being in a learning environment as well. And then the last reason why you as a parent are the ultimate trainer for your child is that you're the guide of their long-term development. A trainer is going to take them through drills, through workouts. A coach is going to manage the team that they're on, but you're going to build a system that everything fits into. You're deciding what's most important right now, how your child spends their time, what teams they're playing on, what trainers they're training with, and what they're investing in. And then you're also helping them learn how to handle pressure, how to deal with failure, how to overcome adversity. So in a way, you're really the head coach of their entire development. Basketball is one of the best vehicles because you're not just shaping a player through all of this stuff. You're shaping a person because those habits that you build, that they build, are either going to benefit them in not just basketball, but in everything, or it's going to hurt them in not just basketball, but everything. A lot of times, I just heard somebody say the other day, the way that you play basketball mirrors who you are as a person. And you can tell a lot by somebody just by watching them play. Basketball is such a great vehicle for developing who you are as a person. So when you're intentional, you pay attention to how they learn and how they grow. You pay attention to the level of challenge that they're facing consistently. And you give them structure, you give them feedback, but most importantly, you give them space to fail and work through it. That's going to build lasting success for them as basketball players. It's going to put them in a really, really good spot. But in life in general, it's going to do wonders for them. Down below, I put together a free basketball parent starter kit, goes through mistakes to avoid, a weekly structure for growth when it comes to training, when it comes to rest, how to communicate with them before games, after games, questions you should be asking maybe trainers that they work with or coaches that they have, and it's going to help you to support them in the best way you can. Check that out down below, completely free. Appreciate you for watching. If you have any questions, make sure you drop them down below, and then check out this video right above.